Welcome back to our study in Philippians chapter 2. We'll be dealing primarily with verse 4 today, which ties very closely in with verse 3 that we discussed yesterday. So let's go back and read the two verses together. Philippians chapter 2, verses 3 and 4. I'm going to read it first in the King James Version, and then I'm going to read it in the NIV. And there's a definite contrast in the wording that we're going to look at today. All right, Philippians 2, verses 3 and 4. Let nothing be done through strife or vainglory, but in lowliness of mind let each esteem other better than themselves. Look not every man on his own things, but every man also on the things of others. Okay. Now let's look at it in the NIV. Do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourselves. Let each of you look not only to his own interests, but also to the interests of others. So these two verses basically could have been left as a single verse because they're dealing with the same idea that we need not to be focused exclusively on ourselves and what we want and what we like and what we care about. But we talked about verse 3 yesterday. Let's look at verse 4. The first word here is in the King James is look, but that's in all the translations. Let each of you look not only to his own interest, but that's more than just looking. Okay, it's not just, okay, I see what you want. No big deal. You want what you want. I want. Okay. The original word scopio, like scope on a camera or on a gun, means to watch. It's not just look at it, hey, look at that. But it's to watch, which takes time and concentration. It means to observe with a particular goal in mind, or to contemplate. So there is a focused effort here. It's not a matter of just, okay, pay attention and notice what somebody else has or likes or wants or does. But put some thought into what you are seeing. Pay attention to it. Focus on it. This is really important in a marriage relationship. That, okay, she likes fish, but I like beef, so I'm going to insist that we have beef. Well, no, if she likes fish, every once in a while, suck it up, deal with it, and eat fish. Okay? But I don't like fish. But what she needs, what she wants, what she likes, you need to consider more important than your own. Well, from her perspective, he's always wanting beef, and those are expensive cuts of meat, and it's hard to get it done just right. That's okay. Pay attention and consider his needs to be more important than your own. Maybe it takes a little effort, extra effort, more than what you would prefer to cook for yourself. Observe that. Think about it. Set pleasing him as your goal. Why? Because back in verse 3 it says we are to esteem the other person more significant than ourselves. And that is so vital in a marriage relationship, that you pay attention to the other person's needs and wants more than you do your own. Yeah, I've heard it said all my life, marriage is a 50-50 proposition. No ma'am, no sir. I attended a wedding one time in which the preacher looked at the bride and said, it's your responsibility to make sure 100% of the time that you are meeting his needs. And then he looked at the groom and said, and it's your responsibility 100% of the time to make sure that you're meeting her needs. Marriage is not a 50-50 proposition. It's a 100-100 proposition. That you have to consider the needs, the wants, the likes, the preferences of the other 100% of the time. Well, when we're in Christ, we are in a family relationship. We are the bride of Christ. We are in a marriage relationship. And we need to consider his wants and needs and likes and preferences seriously, far above our own. But because we're in the body and because we're in a family, we also have to do that with one another. Pay attention to what the other person needs and even what they like. Likes are not the same as needs, and yet we need to observe those things and look to meet those things when we can and when it's appropriate. So don't just notice the way another person is, but pay attention to it. So let each of you look not only to his own interests, but also to the things of others. And the word but, it's a little bitty word. This particular use of the word but, though, means more importantly. Powerfully more importantly. Okay, you need to take care of yourself. You can do the things that you like and the things that you want to do, some, for the most part and within reason, but it's much more powerfully important to pay attention to the needs of others. When we do that, when we have the mindset of verse 3 to esteem one another better than ourselves, and from verse 4 to pay more attention to the needs of others and to the wants of others than to our own personal needs and wants, then the basis for conflict will disappear. It's not going to be well, I want this. Well, I want this. Well, I like this better, but I like this better. But I really need this. Yeah, well, I really need this. That kind of conflict will totally disappear when we're putting the needs and the wants and the likes and the preferences of others ahead of our own. And when we can satisfy those needs and see the joy that that brings to the other person by satisfying that need, first of all, but also by showing them how much value they have to us because we put their needs ahead of our own. Then seeing that joy in the other person gives us an opportunity to have joy as well. And the only type of conflict that will continue to exist is, well, honey, where do you want to go for dinner tonight? I don't care. Where do you want to go? Well, it doesn't matter to me. You pick something. No, you pick something. No, I asked you first, so you pick something. Where do you want to go? It's going to be those happy conflicts, those happy things where each of you is trying to put the other first. And somebody's going to have to give in and say, well, okay, I like that too. So as we put each other first, as we step back from our own personal needs and wants and put the other person's needs and wants ahead of our own, then we will be eliminating the foundation for strife. We will be in a like-mindedness that was talked about in verse 2, because we'll all be setting the needs of the others first. So let's make a special effort today not to be so wrapped up in ourselves, but to pay attention to the other people in our lives, even somebody that's just passing through, like a cashier in a grocery store, or a driver trying to pull out on a busy street. And let's work to observe the people around us, to observe what their needs are, and to meet those needs in the love of Christ, and especially within our homes. Let's look to meet the needs of others and not be so worried about our own, because God will meet our needs. God bless you, and have a great day.